અંગ ધરાવે કોટી ભવન સોહા. જ્ઞાની લાગે દાદા ભગવન, જ્ઞાની લાગે દાદા ભગવન, કળ્યા નહીં કળાય જોઈશ ના ખોડીઓ મુવા. આંખોથી ઓળખી લેવા જોઈશ ના ખોડીઓ મુવા. આંખોથી ઓળખી લેવા. અજબ ગજબ અક્રમ જ્ઞાની શક્તિ ના સમાય. અજબ ગજબ અક્રમ જ્ઞાની શક્તિ ના સમાય. અગમ નિગમ ભેદ વિજ્ઞાની, અગમ નિગમ ભેદ વિજ્ઞાની, જ્ઞાન તણા પર્યાય જ્ઞાન જેના હૃદયા માહી. પ્રત્યક્ષ આ પ્રગટ અહીં, જ્ઞાન જેના હૃદયા માહી. પ્રત્યક્ષ આ પ્રગટ અહીં. સત્સંગ સ્મરણ આત્મા ધારક અવસર આ આવ્યો. સત્સંગ સ્મરણ આત્મા ધારક અવસર આ આવ્યો. જ્ઞાન વિધિમાં બાળી પાપો, જ્ઞાન વિધિમાં બાળી પાપો, કંઈકે કર્યા ભવ પાર શુદ્ધાત્માના લક્ષ્ય પ્રતીતિ. પંચાજ્ઞા જો રક્ષા કરતી શુદ્ધાત્માના લક્ષ્ય પ્રતીતિ. પંચાજ્ઞા જો રક્ષા કરતી. કામ કાઢી લો, કામ કાઢી લો, કયું કંઈક વાર. કામ કાઢી લો, કામ કાઢી લો, કયું કંઈક વાર. લોક તોય સમજ્યા નહીં, લોક તોય સમજ્યા નહીં, ઓળખ્યા ના કીર્તાર હવે નહીં કોઈ સહારો. જ્ઞાની વીણ ક્યાં છે આરો, હવે પૂજ્ય શ્રીનો સહારો. જ્ઞાની વીણ ક્યાં છે આરો. અંતિમ અભય દાન ધરિયા ધરજો રુદિયા માહી. અંતિમ અભય દાન ધરિયા ધરજો રુદિયા માહી. પરપોટો આ ફૂટી જશે તો, પરપોટો આ ફૂટી જશે તો, જઈશું નહીં અમે ક્યાંય બેસીશું મહાત્મા મહી. રહીશું અહીં ના અહીં, બેસીશું મહાત્મા મહી. રહીશું અહીં ના અહીં. અમી ભરેલી આંખડી જેની કરુણા સભર સ્મી. અમી ભરેલી આંખડી જેની કરુણા સભર સ્મી. દર્શન જેના અંતર ઠારે, દર્શન જેના અંતર ઠારે, લાગે મન નામી દાદા છે જગથી ન્યારા લાગે છે સૌને વાલા દાદા છે જગથી ન્યારા લાગે છે સૌને વાલા આજનો લાવો લીજીએ રે કાલ કોણે દીધી છે આજનો લાવો લીજીએ રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે દાદા ભગવાનને ભજીએ રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે દાદા ભગવાનને ભજીએ રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે સ્વામી સિમંદર દાદાને શિરે સ્વામી સિમંદર દાદાને શિરે અમારે શિરે દાદા રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે અમારા શિરે દાદા રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે ફૂલના તકિયાને ફૂલની ગાદી ફૂલના તકિયાને ફૂલની ગાદી પ્રેમના બિછાના બિછાવીએ રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે પ્રેમના બિછાના બિછાવીએ રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે અક્રમ વિજ્ઞાનીનો અભેદ વિજ્ઞાન છે અક્રમ વિજ્ઞાનીનું અભેદ વિજ્ઞાન છે વિક્રમ જ્ઞાન જગત પામો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે વિક્રમ જ્ઞાન જગત પામો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે સર્વદેવ દેવીઓ પ્રાર્થના સ્વીકારજો સર્વદેવ દેવીઓ પ્રાર્થના સ્વીકારજો વિશ્વમાં સુખ શાંતિ લાવજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે વિશ્વમાં સુખ શાંતિ લાવજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે સ્વામી સિમંદર અરજી સંભાળજો સ્વામી સિમંદર અરજી સંભાળજો જગત કલ્યાણ દેખાડજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે જગત કલ્યાણ દેખાડજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે સ્વામી સિમંદર વિનંતી સુણજો સ્વામી સિમંદર વિનંતી સુણજો કલ્યાણી સંકેતો આપજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે કલ્યાણી સંકેતો આપજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે દાદાના ચરણોમાં અમૃતની ધારા દાદાના ચરણોમાં અમૃતની ધારા પીવાય એટલું પીજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે પીવાય એટલું પીજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે દાદા કુબેર.
Okay, so this is now the post-break session beginning on the morning of August 24, 2014, Parayan of Aptavani 3, the morning session. The day 3 has just begun, a magnificent initial. This is the break songs being sung. They're called pados or padyas.
લૂંટાય એટલો લૂંટજો રે કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે દાદાની
પાસે મોક્ષની ચાવી,
દાદાની પાસે મોક્ષની ચાવી,
અંતરના તાળા ખોલાવજો રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે,
અંતરના તાળા ખોલાવજો રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે.
દાદાની અક્રમ લિફ્ટમાં બેઠા પછી,
દાદાની અક્રમ લિફ્ટમાં બેઠા પછી,
હાથ પગ બારના કાઢશો રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે,
હાથ પગ બાર ન કાઢશો રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે.
મુજ દાદા માને દાદા જ મુજમાં,
હું જ દાદામાં ને દાદા જ મુજમાં,
અજબ અભેદતા જાણી રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે,
અજબ અભેદતા જાણી રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે.
દાદા દાદા કેવા દાદા,
દાદા દાદા કેવા દાદા,
દાદાઓના મારા દાદા રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે,
દાદાઓનાય મારા દાદા રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે.
મહાવિદે ક્ષેત્રે અમને લઈ જાજો,
હે મહાવિદે ક્ષેત્રે અમને લઈ જાજો,
સિમંદર સ્વામીના દર્શને રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે,
સિમંદર સ્વામીના દર્શને રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે.
કાલ 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 ક્યારે આવતી જ નથી,
કાલ 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 ક્યારે આવતી જ નથી,
આજ 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 ઘડી કામની રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે,
આજ 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 ઘડી કામની રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે.
આજનો લાવો લીજીએ રે, કાલ કોણે દીઠી છે,
આજનો લાવો લીજીએ રે, કાલ
Make full
કોણે
use of
દીઠી
today
છે.
because no one has seen tomorrow was the title of this last song. As we now await the Gnani is ready with a bunch of questions, and hello, Tina from Simada City, Mitesh from Surat. So the names are being announced. Whole bunch of names being announced as Mahatmas come back from their break. And Bhavna from Surat. Please speak up. Bhavna from Surat is asking. Just lost her sound. We lost. Please speak up again. In Aptavani, on page 11, Dada has said that when somebody cuts our pockets, there is no rag dvesh. Somebody curses, no rag dvesh. Then you'll know that then we have the realm of the self authority only. And beyond that, if somebody cuts the ears, there is no rag dvesh, then no. Then we have the authority of the realm of the self within us. And then you are not affected at all. Even by remaining in the ocean, you never get wet. Will this be needed to be fitted in Samayik, or are we going to have the experience? It will, through 5 Agnas, you will get the experience. It is very easy. The 5 Agnas are easy, are they not? This is all going to come for Mahatmas. It is the filled stocks. Somebody may have 5,000 liters, another some may have 25,000 liters, but it is all going to empty for sure. For us, we are concerned. We know that we just need to remain in this satsang only, and we make sure that our worldly interaction does not hurt anyone, and and settle files with equanimity. That is all. But then but I did when I read the Aptavanis, but you see, but when I get the solutions, then I know that I am on the right path. Good. Next one, Varsha. Next question. Speak up, ma'am. Sorry. Is it true that those who are in Siddha, their faces also change? Yes, their faces change, but they remain in their original state only. So in the Siddh Lord, all kinds of Gnanis will be seen within only, and they will be in the infinite Samadhi, infinite bliss there. I have one more question. Apart from Pratikraman, is there any other way to really become free from bondage? Yes, by remaining the knower and the seer of that which is happening, is you can become free. Just see it as separate, and it is a filled stock only. And if you Pratikraman has to be done by file 1 only if somebody is hurt. Is renunciation necessary? No, renunciation is not at all necessary. Now ego and minus have been renounced, and therefore nothing new needs to be renounced beyond that. Next. Jai Sachidanand. And so when the renouncers renounce, then it comes back again multiplied by 100%. Some people give up. They give up a little bit of their food. Then they get a lot of food in the next life. If they renounce their wife here, then they get beautiful women in the celestial being only. The most important thing to be renounced is the ego and minus. But apart from renouncing the ego and the minus, anything else that is renounced will come back to you again. Yes. So those who renounce onions and potatoes, will they get tons of it in the next life? Yes. And some Vaishnavas, what do you think they eat? On the day of their fasting, they continue to eat a lot of potatoes, and they must have renounced the potatoes in a previous life, you see. The main thing is to be free from kashais, to decrease kashais. And so it's most important not to have any more kashais. But the brahmacharis, they also avoid onions and potatoes, do they not? Onions especially, that is, they do it by becoming the knower of it. They are not really letting go of it, you see. You understand? They are not doing it through doership, they are doing it through the knower of the doer, that is all. Next one. In last life's charged subatomic particles become the mixed subatomic particles. Anger or dvesh parmanus of last life, they charged, And then supposing when they discharge, when there is no awareness, then you do Samayik, then what is the effect on those subatomic particles? When you do the Samayik later on, those subatomic particles fall away. Yes. Yes, how can we do? So Pratikraman also does have, the Pratikraman also helps in this. That's all. Now the when you cross the seventh, when you cross the seventh the anger goes away when you cross the seventh spiritual stage. That means, does it mean that nothing, that the discharge is gone and nothing new charges? No. The charge gets stops, but in the discharge it falls away. That is what happens, you see. As soon as it rises, it falls away and then it goes. Therefore, that is how it is. We have taken Gnani Nakram Vignan. Is the charge and discharge the same in the Kramic path also? For them it is, I want to become free from anger. And so by forgiving, by they you see, when they become simple, you see, they become simple against deceitfulness, they become humble against anger, etc. So through the ego they apply all of these approaches, and then, so in other words, they use the soap of the ego to clean the conduct, you see. And this is for the Kramic path, it is really not gone completely. It is only it has only suppressed only, and therefore at 11th spiritual stage they are still there and they can arise again, and they arise again. And if and is in the 11th spiritual state, there is the ego can arise that, oh, I have such accomplishments, I have such spiritual powers. Then he can fall very so. So there is a Kshapak Shreni as well as Upsham Shreni. There is a ladder which suppresses everything and one rises higher, and then there is a ladder there is also where everything is totally destroyed and then one rises higher. When all the anger goes away, then we can see the world as it is. It's because otherwise, when you have the hunger, then you see, when the hunger pain is there, then he will beg, and if he doesn't get it, then he will do rag, dvesh, anger, pride, deceit, and greed. But he is the emperor of infinite bliss. But he is not aware of the infinite bliss that lies within him, and therefore he is seeking it elsewhere, you see. Oh, please give me some food, please give me some food, will you give me some food, this thing, will you give me 5 rupees for a cup of tea, you see. Because he does not know that he is the emperor of bliss, he has all the bliss within himself. And so, and the Dada says, how do you know that you have had Gnan? Dadashri says, up until yesterday I was a beggar and today all the begging has gone away. Would I not know that something has happened inside me? You say, yes, so when the hunger goes away, you will know it. And everyone whose hunger is gone will know it for sure. And when the hunger is lingering, then one will be aware of the hunger. And then slowly, whatever you get naturally is like milk. When you ask for it, it is like water. And when you snatch it from others, it is like blood. Um, so when, yes, he should be seen as the Vishuddhatma, faultless, non-doer, etc. You see, but if you do not see him as the non-doer, faultless, pure one, Shuddha Swarup, then there are errors in the vision. Originally, the Parmanu is Dravya and Tattva or element. and as it keeps on changing, then it when it gathers together, it's called Pudgal, and then when it changes from filling and emptying, then it is called the changing phase. The Gnani is the knower of all of this. That's all. This is Bhagwan. You have moved very far away by understanding every word of Dada. But we have the veils which we do not make us understand the words as they are. Will we be able to understand the words as they are in order to attain our liberation? Are we only will we attain liberation only when we understand? No, this is wrong. Your first statement is wrong. By through the five agnas and pratikraman that one can proceed forward. And you have to make Uma do pratikraman, and therefore for your moksha, five agnas is your green signal, that is all. Not what Deepak Bhai has done, because that is wrong what you just stated. Because when you become free from that which draws you into the world through the five agnas, then I feel the load of, you see, Krishna just said, Dadashri, oh Dada Bhagwan, grant me the energy to understand it as it is. Then I will say, she says, I do not understand the Aptavanis of Dada, she says. But when you are chatting with your girlfriend, then you are interested in that, are you not? But you do not understand Aptavanis. What is? I am doing a lot of prayers. Prayers is excellent, then prayers will lead you forward. He says, if the door is not opening, will you keep on kicking the door? No, use the key to open the door, you see. And if one key doesn't work, then employ some other key. But there must be a key to open the door. But by kicking the door, will you be able to enter the home? You will have to sleep outside the home only, would you not? Would you please give me the energy to remove the veils over my knowledge? It's all going to go away. Why are you asking for it? Gnanavaran will all go away through the five agnas. The Gnanavaran means veils over the knowledge, instantly go away by the application of the five agnas. If I Yes, so in other words, the person who cannot see is because his window is closed. If he opens his window, he'll be able to see it, but he has no desire to open the window to go outside and see. That is right, you see, so he has no intention to really see, does he? She says, I cannot see anything in Samayik. He says, inability, he says, you can see a lot because you are able to all describe everything. The belief that I cannot see anything in Samayik is the error. You see, you become the seer the moment you close your eyes in Samayiks and everything is seen. The question is, why are you trying to... my question is on prajna versus awareness and Gnan, Jagruti, awareness. What is your name, ma'am? What do you want to ask, ma'am? When we take Gnan, then prajna arises, but later on it stops and I am in my old mode. What is the ultimate? I want to know what is the ultimate. That will come later on for you. But you see, in the last life, ultimately there will be only the knowing and the seeing only. Right now you are seeing file 1. And then you can see the junk of the body, the junk of the mind, the junk of the intellect, the junk of the ego. You see, when all of it goes away, then there will be absolute knowledge only, where you will be only the knower and the seer only. And then that will prevail in the Siddha Kshetra. And we see, originally the self comes in its own nature, you see. You see. This is when you are a shepherd, Once you become a shepherd, you may have 15 cows or 500 cows, but your shepherd role is there for sure. In the same way, the self has become the self, and therefore the self will become the absolute self ultimately, and can remain in infinite bliss forever. Please give me energy. Please give me energy, so that I can finish all my karma. Yeah. Are you waiting for the last thing? Now our last station is Siddhakshetra via Mahavidakshetra. Siddhakshetra, next one. And today's Pudgal is the result of the cause of last life. Can we change our Prakriti, the non-self complex? The Kramik mark says that your Prakriti is dependent upon your water and on food intake. But it is just, the food is only just a worldly interactive talk, but we have understood that I am pure soul, and that for whatever the subatomic particles of file 1 are desiring will come in the body, and that's all there is to it. And the real thing is the awareness of the soul only. And in the Kramik path, I renounced onions and potatoes, but then I started eating after Gnanvidhi I started eating onions, and then I felt that there's nothing wrong. If you don't want to eat onions, don't eat them. You see, if they come in your plate, then just settle the file of the onions and the potatoes with equanimity. That is all. There is no law that you have to eat it or not to eat it. You see, be free from all of this. It's not going to make much of a difference. It's not going to make much difference one way or the other for you anymore. Now it is the filled stock only. It is all. You see, the kashais because of this will arise according to the time, and at that time you have to be aware. That is all. Next. When we do pratikraman, all our karma gets washed. When we have hurt somebody in charging the karma, when we hurt somebody, we charge karma, she says. But if we have not hurt anyone else, but supposing कोई पण दुख नहीं, we have not hurt anyone. Okay, so she lost the power in a microphone. How can we do pratikraman? Now keep it separate. We want to do pratikraman for hurt caused to others. Any thought that hurts others, any talk that hurts others, any activity that hurts, to see the other person at fault, you have to do pratikraman of that. But otherwise you can just say, I am pure soul. And you have to talk to the mind, says the mind, if the mind while you're driving, supposing we have done something to the mind, then you ask for the Dada, please grant me the energy not to have these kind of thoughts. That's all. When we do pratikraman, we have become free from all karma. There are two parts, pratikraman, and also when then there is also to see pratikraman as separate. You should make Rajvi do pratikraman, and you should be the knower of the one who is doing pratikraman. And you see, when by supposing when we desire something and we get it, are we binding karma? No. We do have the bhavanas of Charanacharya, with the exception of the pure soul. I do not want anything destructible in this end. That means that is the ultimate pratyakhyan. That means whatever is in vyavasthit, I accept it. That is all. what happens that I have asked, it will go away, it will go away. If you remember it, then you can do Pratikraman and Pratyakyan that I asked for it, but now I have received the bliss of the soul, therefore I do not want anything else. And so then means in that way you become free from it. Jai Sachidanand. Aptavani 3, page 33, on when anger and pride subatomic particles increases, one becomes a male, and when deceit and greed subatomic particles increase, then one becomes a female in the next life. He just changed the sentence and said, horsepower. The Godan they say that a horse has only got male subatomic particles only. Is it true? And Deepak Bhai says so. The question is, you are asking very difficult question because he just said that a horse has got only anger and pride, male parmanus only. One has become a horse because of his previous cause. What kind of because why, in what way does he only become a horse only? I don't know, says Deepak Bhai. Deepak Bhai says, what do you want to do? What is your answer? Tell me. I want to know. He said something. People, you see, Krishna. People say that Lord Krishna liked the feathers of what do you call that bird? That the peacock. But you see, if you gather peacocks to please Lord Krishna, then next life you will become a peacock. You see, so therefore. But what is it that your understanding? You really should be more concerned about how you can become free from the subatomic particles of sexuality, anger, pride, deceit and greed. What do you want? Do you want to avoid being a horse, or do you want to become free from the the subatomic particles? But you see, but when the one who is free from deceit and greed, he becomes a horse in the next life. Is that not what you said? He becomes totally from greed and deceit, he will become a horse in the next life. No. So, are you Shivlal or Shuddhatma? I'm Shuddhatma, Bhagwan. So you, in Shuddhatma, no subatomic particles can enter. No subatomic particles can enter in Shuddhatma. So, but it's therefore, and do not enter into Shivlal anymore. Do not become Shivlal anymore. But just remain in the knower and the seer. Yes, yes. Okay, next one. Okay, all right. Okay, Deepak Bhai still finds that one very funny. Okay, speak up, ask. My question is, if we remain the knower and the seer only, is there a question of wholesale or detail? When you see this, Gnata. Wholesale and detail. Instead of seeing the common versus specifics, Deepak Bhai says, I'm having difficulty with this English words of yours. He says, when you see wholesale, that means you are the seer, and then when you see detail, then means you are the knower, the Gnani. So wholesale knowledge is called the vision, and specific knowledge is called the knowing, specific knowing, you see. Yeah. But when you think of food and then you want to, because when specific, when you are having the thoughts of specific things of walking around, spending money, going shopping, doing all of these things, no, it's not happening right now. No, 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 no. Just let, when you get, when you can see them specifically, then you are the knower of them, you see. But I become tanmayakara and I have the effect, I get absorbed, and then you become the sufferer and the doer. Doer, sufferer. What are you going to do then? And then I separate it. That's it. Yes, very good. I separate her from me. And yes, first of all, you must decide that you want to remain the drashta and the knower. But isn't the drashta, knower and the seer one only? when you became, when you saw wholesale, it's called drashta. When you saw detail, it's called gnata. And so just see it superfluously, commonly, but don't say she's wearing a dirty sari, she's got a beautiful sari, etc. Don't go into specifics at all. Just see it in general only. Don't go into specifics, because when you go into specifics, it will stick to you. You know, it's a sari shop, you know, but you know, oh, look at this sari within this sari shop. Then you'll get stuck. Yes. Yeah. Yes, the files come and therefore it comes to you. You say it's gone, it's not gone yet. You see? She says it's gone, I'm not interested in saris. No, because of files it does come back to me, she says. Saris come. It has gone from me and it has gone in Narmada, that's her name, in file 1. And you see, do I have to empty Narmada? No, Vyavasthit will empty Narmada's junk. You don't have to. And the Narmada plan, you see, there's a big river Narmada. My file does not allow me to come to satsang, but now he allows me to some. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, I make all the adjustments, and so it's very good. If you please your husband, then your obstructions to moksha will be removed. Next one. I have one more question. There's a little bit remaining. Mind, मन बुद्धि चित अहंकार कर्तापणु भोक्तापणु suffering etc. But the self is only the knower of it all. But why is it called vastu, thing? Vastu is not a physical thing. It is not a physical thing. It is a vastu. It is a specific thing. And from the spiritual view, it is a thing. It is called dravya, tattva, element. It is the knower element. It is the eternal knower element. That which is eternal is an element. Next one. When we listen to previous satsangs and current satsangs, or when we look at previous Aptavanis and current ones, and it feels like there is some contradiction because of different nimitz. Because I spoke from the 6th floor and then from the 7th floor previously and the 10th floor assembly. So you should understand that. You should understand that what I see today, there must be something much higher than this, and is indeed there. So we need to keep on understanding through the vision of the current Gnani. That is all. He says that the vision that was expressed in previous Parayans is a little different than the current vision. And so, but it is all on the basis of the speech of Dadavani only, the Gnani's speech only. My own observation is also changing. I too need to confirm that with Dada's speech. Yes, there might be some errors here and there. Yes, on page 32 you spoke something. As long as there is Prayogsha, it can be changed, but after Mishrasha, it cannot be changed. In this life, it can be changed, but otherwise, it cannot be changed in the next life. if you do not wash the mistakes, but if there is a bondage cause, if you do not wash it in a year, then it will cause bondage for many lifetimes. But that is Anantanubandhi. But you see, now we are all totally free from all of this. It was in the ignorant state, you see. It is for those who charge in ignorant state, but we are now with the knowledge of the self. And that is why in this Samayik we are clearing off the mistakes of the entire life only. And also in the Gnanvidhi, majority of it is totally burnt off. Its majority is significantly burnt off. But after the Gnanvidhi, something is bothering you again and again, then it can be washed off with one Pratikraman Pratyakhyana in the Samayik. That is all, you see. And that is why this Satsang, Samayik, Vidhi, Vachan is such that it will make us ekavtari. So there is no reason for us to wander for multiple lifetimes. No matter what kind maybe the kind of fault before the Gnan Vidhi, it will all gets washed off, you see. Because you see, this case you can eradicate it from the root, and this is exactly, the Chakravarti kings have killed and massacred the people on the other side of in wars, and yet they have attained moksha and gone to moksha. And so we have not done anything like that, and it is through this Vignan, this science, that we can become free from it. And so you talk about Ananda Bandhuya and Apratyakyani Dosh, all of those mistakes of the kind that were described in the Pratikraman Parayans. You see, these are no longer relevant for us in the Gnan state. Yeah. You see, 4 times 4, that is 16, then no kashais and the mithya, and 28 faults are all on one side. They're all been, they're all in discharge. They're all gone after the Gnan. The charge is all gone. Darshan moh is all gone. Charging moh is all gone. The discharge is only left, and in the discharge, you only have to be concerned about where it hurts other human beings and other living beings. That is all. And then these Mahatmas are very special people. They are very significant people. See them as pure souls. In 1 or 2 lives, they are all going to go to moksha. They are very significant, elevated human beings and enlightened beings, you see. And therefore, so you need to be serving them. You should be taken there. You should have reverence for all of these Mahatmas. And they are no ordinary human beings at all. Then serve them, help them. This is the guarantee. Then Dadashri says that it is guaranteed that within 1 or 2 or 3 lifetimes they are all going to attain moksha. Therefore, do not see any mistake or fault of a Mahatma. You see, it is like this. If it is a steel ball, if it has been heated up very much, then even if you take away the fire from it, it will still appear hot for a while, will it not? And so, will it not also burn others? You see, so. And so until every Mahatma's heat is going down, and they are all going to become cold steel balls. You see, they are absolutely untouched, unperturbed, unfazed in anything. They will not be undisturbed. They will not be disturbed. And what are they sowing? They are sowing the seeds of Jagat Kalyan Bhavana. Let everyone attain the magnificent bliss that we have attained, and then they are all therefore going into the Vaikavatari path. And you see, and they are in the state of the Nirahari. You see, they are neither the doers. There is also a sentence that the energies of the self are absolutely independent. And then there is also been said that it is that the world has, the self has infinite energies, but is not independent. But you see, this is with a relative viewpoint, you see. Yes, and there is, the Pudgal has got, there are 2 types of energy, Swabhavik energy and Vibhavik energy, and they belong both to both the categories, the Pudgal as well as the self also. And through the Vibhavik Shakti's energies, there is Rag Dvesh in this sansar, in this worldly life interactions, and through the Swabhavik energy one attains moksha. You see? Yes. Now next one is on page 31. And the moment when he decided to see the energies of the Pudgal, one got trapped in it. And by the then there is the Samipya Bhav and Vishesh Bhav on another page, on page 35. And then the phases of the self change by the self remaining in its own location. The question arises: what about how about wanting to go? It is the same thing. What is this? There is nothing, no contradiction in any of these things. It's the same thing. You see, if something drops on the side, but then if something falls on my side, then I will know. Then we'll say that what happens there. But you see, but you feel like something went. You see, and so the self automatically knows that something falls, and then later on you look to the right and say, oh, something fell. But before it fell, or at the time it was falling, the mirror within knows that something is falling. You see, but because of the lack of separation between the non-self and the self, the Samipya Bhava arises, and therefore it believes that it is happening to me or I am doing it. But you see, but you see, but what happens? Therefore, he goes to see who did it, and therefore he enters the Vibhav. Oh, he threw it, she did it, he did it, etc. You see, and so from Vibhav there is more further vision of Vibhav only, whereas and therefore such a person charges karma. But when Vibhav means I am Uve, I am Nada, and then that is the beginning of the karma charging. But if the Vibhav doesn't arise in that which is happening in front of you, then you are in Swabhav, you are in the self only. When the knowledge becomes the shape of the Gnani, supposing if you see an apple, the knowledge becomes the knowledge. You see, so the knowledge assumes so in order to see the Gneya, the phases of the self, the knower self change accordingly so that it can see the apple. The light remains the same, and it is called Gnan Akar. In other words, it assumes the phases of the apple. It looks like, but you see, when he becomes absolutely enlightened, then it is all. He is only the aware. He remains. You see, but as when he becomes absolutely enlightened, he remains as in the Gnana Akar only, the knower form only, and shape, and does not enter into the non-self at all. This is in Aptavani 14. You mentioned that on page 30 there is when once the subatomic particles enter, when they give their results, it is called Mishrasa. If there is an effective body has a result, you see, and effective body is called Mishrasa, and you see, and the charging body, causal body is called Prayogsha, you see. So it is a causal body. So then we talk about Udirana. In other words, some karma are not there in front of us before they are ready to give their effects. In other words, Udirana means you call them in advance. You see, when you see, you cannot do anything. You see, the mangoes are ripened by before their natural ripening date by placing them with some other objects like onions, etc. But nothing new has changed. It is nothing new. It is just that is what is there. It is brought forward. And it is what happens exactly when your interest in it goes away, then it will fall away faster. The most important thing is your interest in it. It is the interest in it that leads you towards the suffering. And once your interest in it is not there, then there is no suffering, is there? Yes, so by melting the interest in it, it gives the same effect. This is all Kramik path, by the way, Udirana. that is, it is as powerful as the Samayik of the Akram Samayik. We are trying to take our interest in it. What is it that we are interested in, this and that makes us ultimately the sufferer of that? Let us take the questions later on in the evening. Now let us take the Samayik now. Let us take the Samayik. So this is now the Samayik, and in the Samayik it has been said that we are not going to talk about the horse, but we are talking about the male subatomic particles and the female subatomic particle predominance. We, from wherever we are, whether we have male subatomic particles or a female subatomic particles, we need to get rid of them. But we want to make sure that, but you see, we want to become free from those subatomic particles and we attain the state of the Gnani. In the man it is the knot of pride, and in the woman it is the moha, it is and deception, you see. Because the man kashaya is the most important kashayas, and and in the sangnya there is in the sangnya it is man kashaya, and in sangnya it is your sexual tendencies that really gives you a lot of this. Initially you get sex naturally, but then when you don't get it you become angry, and when you don't get it then you employ deceit, and the deceit then when increase, then he becomes a woman in the next life. And sex is also like that, he also says, when you get sex, it is satisfied, you feel good. When you don't get it, you do all kinds of deceit, or all kinds of temper tantrums, or you do everything in order to get your sexual desire satisfied. Any kind of moh that arises, the illusion arises that I want it, then automatically the subatomic particles of deceit and greed and attachment arises within you, and therefore you become a woman from a man. So today let us concentrate on the illusory attachment, moha of sexuality. If as a man you want more and more sex, and when you fight about sex, and when you get it you get very happy, when will I get it again, etc. That is all moha. That means the moha is increasing. That moha, the illusory attachment towards it, I want it, the moha is increasing, and in order to satisfy that illusion attachment, the self is, and the ego is the one that wants the sex, and the ego is projecting that sex is pleasant. By being the ego, he projects more and more sex, wants more sex, and therefore, the first deceit is already there, that I am Deepak, I am Chandu, and then because then he goes in secondary deceit by hiding it from his wife, or does whatever he does, etc. And so then he increases the subatomic particles of a woman in him, in the causal body, and therefore, but if he says that whatever I get naturally is fine, and only I drink the sex when only the medicine is needed, and I didn't want the sex at all, but only when there was a fever I entered into sex, etc. Then when he doesn't want sex, and when he doesn't get it, and then he goes into a penance mode when he does not get sexual satisfaction, then the knot of sexuality will go burn and melt away. And some people will as very scornfully, and some people will say, I'm not going to give it to you, I'm not going to give you sex, I'm not going to do it with you, etc. So moh has two children, rag and dvesh. Moh means the illusion that makes you become uva or nada. You see, therefore the intention is that I do not want sex at all until the final liberation. When you decide that I do not want sex at all, no matter what, until my final liberation, then all of this subatomic particles will go away, whether you are a male or a female. And this, because when does the female subatomic particles increase? Because she wants it, she wants pleasure, and so it wants more pleasure and more pleasure, and that is the ego, and the ego therefore That the first level deceit is that she becomes a nada or she becomes a katya, and the second level kapat is that she really throws temper tantrums, she becomes hysterical, histrionic, she does all kinds of covetousness, all kinds of kapats and secondary deceit in order to get more pleasure. And so any kind of to get any kind of to suffer any kind of pleasure, to do anything, that is all, it is all increasing the subatomic particles of a woman. And when it is not satisfied, then when you are repentant, when you enter into penance mode, when you settle it with equanimity, etc., then you don't see the mistakes of the partner of anybody, then she will become free from this female subatomic particles and will then when will move into the direction of becoming a man in the next life. So this is a bit, just because this is with the file one, with the relationships between a man and a woman is because of sex only, and it is because of sex, because he was not aware of who he really is, therefore he believed that he is the body, and then he believed that if I have another body it will be nice, and therefore they get married, and then they get more children, etc. And so rag, dvesh and clashes continue, and that clashes, and then there are more kashais than that, and there are more seeds, and the life cycle of sansar keeps on increasing. But today we say and affirm that there is no pleasure in sex, and that whatever kashais have happened and whatever hurt has happened, where clashes have happened, where we have been deceitful because of the desire to fulfill our sexual desire, etc., we let us look at it in the Samayik of Vishay, because we want to break this tremendous spiritual blockade of sexuality. Because as this goes away, then the male and the female subatomic particles will go away, and you will both be able to go to this the moksha to get in the next life. You see, in one more life. Otherwise, if he does not get his sexual hunger satisfied, then he will continue to employ deceit, and he will have sex through deceitful means only. He will satisfy his instincts through mind, through imagination, through ego, and through physical means, and where the pleasure arises, that is where the deception and the more subatomic particles are there. And on this side, brahmacharya will continue to become siddha. When one becomes a brahmachari through kumari, through the heavy ego saying that I don't want sex no matter what, then he through the inner, and he will become free from this negative, from the female subatomic particles, and therefore, and so then later on we will take the deception in. We are going to focus on all the various kashais that arise because of sexuality. Because of sexuality, deception arises, pride arises, anger arises, hurt arises, greed arises, and so the severe greed arises, etc. And so we want to break this today in the Samayik, and let us, as everybody understand this today, so let us, we have all become the pure soul only. See file 1 separate, and see what file 1, what all kind of storms file 1 did because of sexual problems and sexualities, and what sexual deceit it entered into. And let us talk about the 4 steps that sex is wrong, in what way sex is wrong, and wherever sex was, then do pratikraman, and never protect sexuality, and all of those things. And so be in the opposition of sex in all accounts, and therefore with that, and so all the subatomic particles will go away. So this Sri Panu, that female-ness, will go away from the sexual, because you want to move I want to move in the bliss of the self only, and I do not want any kind of sex. What is the natural thing that is an account between a man and a woman, husband, wife? Settle it with equanimity, without, don't say that I'm not going to give it to you, and don't fight for it and say I've got to have it from you, and just kind of settle it with equanimity, and with understanding kind of become free from it, you see. And file 1, 2 has to settle each other's account of sexuality with understanding, and when you are alone and by yourself, then melt your own knot of sexuality within you, and that is the Samayik that we are going to do right now. Let us understand the nature of sexuality, and whatever sexual faults file 1 has entered into, kind of see them in exactness, and see them, and then also do the pratyakam, never want it ever again, and that because, and be aware of the suffering that has that you've been through because of the sexual tendencies and the sexuality of file 1, you see, and do a tremendous bhavna of the sixth kalam, that up until the final moksha, let me be in absolutely pure brahmacharya through mind, speech and body, and whatever may be the files, once you become free from the file of sexuality, so many files go away, and then you will become ek avatari, that means only one more life before final liberation. So you will become the emperor of this world if you become free from sexuality, you see. That's all. So if you and in no previous life you have not very able to melt the knot of sexuality, and then you will enter into 10th station and the 11th and 12th station, and then you will enter into absolute enlightenment only. But let it. But even if it takes 1, 2 or 3 more lifetimes to become absolutely free from sexuality, then it will be very, very sad. So a brahmachari has absolute continuous safe side. He has no obstructions and antara. His sheel has got a lot of importance, and shilvan, until we want to become kashai rahit, means free from kashais and free from sexuality, and that is the mark of a shilvan in the relative. Let us now let us do the Samayik to melt this knot. Speak, Hey Dada Bhagwan, O Absolute Self within me, O Lord Sri Simandar Swami Prabhu at Mahavide, with the exact applied awareness of the pure soul Shuddhupyog, because of the illusory attachment to sexuality, whatever deception or any other kashai mistakes have happened, somebody has been hurt because of that. In order to get sexual satisfaction, kashais have been created. When sex was not given, kashais have happened. Because of illusory attachment to sex, whatever deception and all kinds of manipulations have been done, and the feeling that sex is pleasant only, and because of that opinion, whatever mistakes have happened because of the opinion that sex is pleasant, let me see all those mistakes in Samayik. Let me grant me the energy to see all those mistakes. Let me see file one's sexual knot in Samayik. Let me see file 1 sexual knot in Samayik. With the pure mind, speech and activity, let me be in the pure state of eternal continuous brahmacharya, and let me do such a Samayik, my Lord. I surrender this mind, speech and body, all illusions associated with my name, bhav karma, charge karma, dravya karma, subtle discharge karma, yellow glasses, no karma, gross discharge karma. Hey Dada Bhagwan, the Absolute Self within me, you are the manifest Absolute Self, Paramatma within me, and I am surrendering all of them unto your divine feet. I am surrendering them all, my Lord, to you. Datma chu, Shuddhatma 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 Chum 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 Vishuddhatma Chu 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 Shuddhatma Chu Shuddhatma Chu Shuddhatma Chu Shuddhatma Chu Vishuddhatma Chum Vishuddhatma Chum Vishuddhatma Chum Vishuddhatma Jai Sachidanand, Jai Sachidanand, Jai Sachidanand. Go deep and do a beautiful Samayik. This is a magnificent state when you break this the knot of sexuality, and it is possible for you to become free from it. And you can go deep into it and see it all, see all sexuality. Jai Sachidanand. Jai Sachidanand.